express our gratitude for all the people that came to help, and knowing that everyone in the state's going to help moving forward, and our thoughts and prayers with people affected. So, obviously in the game, Demetrius went down with a significant injury, and Bly Hill what looks like maybe a semi-significant injury. So, both to their patellas. I don't know long term. I hate to speak till those MRIs done and all that, but looks like it could be somewhat significant for each. So, from a football perspective, obviously, that those two injuries hurt. From a personal perspective, they really hurt. But I know both guys are tremendous competitors and young players, and they'll bounce back and be great. And but just wanted to start with that. And then finally, I thought the crowd, for an early game, for everything that happened yesterday, to have over 60,000 people there. What a great message in recruiting. What a great message to our team. And hopefully we brought people some joy today on a dark day after yesterday. So with that, happy to answer all your questions.
You said that you were looking for a red-white shootout. Did the offense show you what you wanted to see from them today?
There were some explosive plays. There were some extended drives. There was some big plays. I have to probably watch the film to see kind of who did what. Obviously sometimes, maybe some players are matched up against a player that's just maybe older than them or better than them. But I thought there was a lot of positive energy in terms of the way the offense conducted themselves, got in and out of the no huddle, sometimes got in a huddle. Just the overall feel from the field where I was felt really good. And so those are the things I was looking for. Obviously the 2 turnovers back to back I didn't like, but happy that the defense made those plays, and then I felt for the rest of the game that some plays were made that we have to make.
Is that a pretty fitting summary of Dylan's spring?
That's a great question. I don't know how to answer that, to be honest with you. Usually you don't get tongue twisted very often, but I think Dylan's had a very good spring. The plays I liked. I was up doing the TV at one point. That one where we kicked a field goal that we missed. You could see he wanted so badly to throw the ball back across the middle of the field as he was scrambling, and he didn't. The one scramble he in's probably a sack. But he's got 2 hands on the ball as he's running. So it's gonna be the little things with Dylan, not the big things, right? He's got a great feel for the game. He's got a big time arm. He's calm. It's gonna be the little things. It's gonna be protecting the football, taking 3, managing the game. I thought it just felt like he did a lot of those things, but he hasn't done all of them. He's grown as the spring's gone on. So he, like all the rest of our players, I think, had a chance today to just improve on what they did last week, and I thought in a lot of ways he did.
What kind of jump did Jalen Lloyd make this spring, especially with his speed and Dylan's arm talent? How much more can he be showcased if he gets free like he did today?
Yeah, I think the thing with Jalen is his ball skills just continue to improve, and it's really a credit to like Marcus and Garrett. They've introduced drills that I've always been against. Deep down inside, I'm just a D-line coach, right? Like I want to they do pat and go and all these drills, and I'm like I was always against them. But we started doing them, and the guys have just bought in and gotten better and better and better. From the first scrimmage to this scrimmage, the ball skills, the catching of the football has just improved, and I think Jalen's one of the prime guys with that. It's one thing when guys have great speed, but when you're like a triple jumper. And when you're long jumper, he has such athleticism and mobility, so he can track balls. He's loose. He can track it over his shoulder, and he plays hard. So when the quarterbacks get outside the pocket, he can turn up. And to be honest with you, Dylan has the ability to get outside the pocket and make those big throws. And Heinrich can get outside. Heinrich can throw the ball 75 yards. And so you have a feeling that, hey, I can turn up on these plays. Danny, I don't know if you saw him get outside and throw one down the field today, but he's got a big time arm, can do it as well. So it's contagious. But Jalen's been one of the most improved players on the team. His becoming a receiver is just growing exponentially.
This is the first time we've seen Ja'Cory Barney. What does that look like all spring? Is that like Brian asked about the QB? Is that what it's looked like all spring?
Yeah, I felt bad for him. I think he thought the kicker was the same color jersey as him. I was watching that one on TV, but Yeah, the kickoff return's hard to tell, right? Because it's not live. But I watched the TV replay up there, and I think Kobe grabbed his flag, and that's it. So, but Jacory's dynamic and he's tough. He's still learning a lot. Like, they jumped off sides, and he took off before the ball was snapped because he saw them jump off sides. So he's really a smart player. But he's really, really competitive, really fast. And if we can bring just a little bit of that kick return dynamic to our team, that changes things. And then he can play all three spots because he is quick and fast and can catch the ball across the middle.
The ball that he caught over the middle on 3rd and 13, and then also the ball that Dylan threw to Bullock that was over the middle. Those seem to have a bit of a different kind of zip to them than what we've seen. Is that something that allows Dylan to stand out, the ability to make those kind of throws?
I'm not going to compare the guys. I don't know if I can prepare to do that. I think the thing that Dylan has done really well this spring as a young player is sometimes young quarterbacks can pass on. He's kind of covered, whereas Dylan knows the ball's supposed to go there. He's going to throw it there, and if he throw it on his back shoulder, he'll throw it where he needs to throw it, and then trust those guys to go make those plays. You can't play quarterback and receiver. You can only play quarterback. And so you've got to throw the ball away from the defender and let the guys go make the plays. And so I think all of our quarterbacks have done that. But you saw that today from him. And I thought that was to your point, that was a big time catch. Making that. The 4 verticals to Bullock, that's kind of something like I think we do pretty well. We're a pretty good 4 vertical team. I think later on when I was up in the TV booth, did we hit Borkacher on one down the seam? I think Heinrich did. So we do that well. But the in cuts and control in the middle of the field is really important to us. And I think one of the major keys to that, Mitch, is throwing the ball below the chin so that the ball is in a catchable space, but if there's a tip, it's not up in the air. That's what happened on the triple slant interception, right? The ball's a little bit behind, a little bit high. In the red zone, tips equal picks. And so, to me, we're just constantly evolving those areas. But Dylan has a great feel for that. And the thing he does is he just trusts that the ball's supposed to go there. I'm going to put it where the defender isn't and let the guy make a play, and those guys made those plays.
You've tried Connor in some different spots. Did he kind of take off this spring at that wide out?
Yeah. So, Janirin, I think he's an NFL fullback, but I also think he's a dynamic wideout too. And I think it's a credit to Corey that, the way that Janirin's really continued to improve his body. But he's in that 218 range. And so to me, he is a true weapon. He's a guy that we could conceivably play at wideout for 10 plays in a row, or we could motion in and he'll block defensive ends. He carried the football for us last year. But what I love is you see the perimeter screen game that we have going on, but you have a 220-pound wideout out there blocking their nickel. That helps. Then you put Nayor and Jamal out there. You have some big men on the perimeter. So I'm really pleased with what Wood's done, Janirin's done, and I think he'll continue to evolve, and you'll see him line up in a lot of different places in the offense.
Does Fedoni move better than he did last spring?
I don't know. He's a pretty explosive guy. I mean, he's 4'5". I think the biggest thing with Thomas is, at the end of the season, I said to Thomas, I was like, what a great fall we had. Meaning him, like us, we had. And he's like, what do you mean? He is. What I love about Thomas Fedoni, man, he's never happy. He's never happy. And it's because he wants to be great. He wants to be the best tight end in the world. And he's always trying to get better. But my point was, coming off 2 ACLs, to get through a spring, a fall camp, and a season healthy, that's what he needed. Because now instead of rehabbing this winter, he's lifting. And he's in the 260 range at 4'5" with 35-inch arms, 34-inch arms. He's a physical freak, and he's loyal. Every team in the country is trying to get him to leave and go there. And the kid's he's Nebraska Cornhusker through and through. So I love that guy, and I love his approach. And it's still good for our players to see a guy who's so obsessed with being great and never happy. You know what I mean? But at the same time, to your point, he just had to have a true off season. He just had to have weightlifting where he's not rehabbing, and now I think you're starting to really see what he can do.
Would you rest any of those veterans today? I mean, the guys that you had been not resting, but sitting out. I don't want to use that rest word.
No, I appreciate that. I made them all warm up. Like Keese and Giff and Ty and Nash. Those guys didn't play. I told Tommy not to, and then typical Tommy Hill. He's out there the whole first series playing corner. He's like, he just said, like, let me get a series, coach. Let me get a series. And I'm like, all right, go get a series. And he's out there. I love that guy. I love his competitive nature. Bryce, Ben Scott, and then other guys who played in, we kind of set numbers for them. Hey, let's get this guy 3 series. Let's get this guy 4 series. It was hard at wideout because we're thin, right? And then once we lost D-Bell, we're really thin. Jaden Doss played 2 ways today for us. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he played corner, he played wideout. So, Jaden's a guy that we think is really, really special, and we're just trying to foster a bunch of different talents for him.
What strides do you think Heinrich Haarberg has made since last season?
Well, I think you saw a lot of this. He still had the ability to tuck the ball down and run, right? He's truly a dual-threat quarterback who can change the game. But I love him taking what's there. I love him, being explosive, pushing the ball down the field, deep balls down the field, elite balls in the middle of the field, and but I also love him. I also love him moving within the pocket, taking check downs, taking a bad play and getting out of it. I think it's really, really important in our job. You guys haven't asked the question yet. At some point, you guys are like, "When are you gonna name a starter?" I go to dinner with Eric Crouch, and Eric tells me that his entire rookie season or freshman year here, he had to wait. He couldn't sleep on Friday nights because on Saturday morning they'd go to breakfast before the game, and then Coach Gill would tell them who was starting that week, and like that is Nebraska, and so what I love is we're going to focus on Dylan. I get that, but you can see the improvement in Heinrich. You can see Danny as a true freshman go out there and complete 60% of his balls, whatever he did today. It's just I want the quarterback play to be great, and so each guy from there then has to bring their own unique sensibility, right? Dylan kind of makes these types of plays. Heinrich can make these types of plays. I personally believe it's going to take all of us to play pretty well at the quarterback position in the Big Ten. I personally believe throughout the course of a season, like we have aspirations of regaining Nebraska's place and winning national championships. How many games is that now to win a national championship? And between the Big Ten championship game, if you don't have a bye, it's 15 or 16 games, yes? Play one quarterback through that. So I think, just watching Heinrich blossom and get better, is so important. Watching Danny, watching Dylan, Luke and Jack went out there and they moved the football. Like, I just want the quarterback play to be good, and I think it's a credit to Glenn. He's done a really nice job with them.
Tell you anything? Did you come to the realization that you're set there, that like you have everything you need at the quarterback position?
No, I wouldn't say that. No, I would never say that.
As far as like the guys on the roster.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would say we would always look for quarterback. I mean, if there's a quarterback that comes along, we would always take another quarterback. I think we have our starter sitting in that room. Let me say that. Okay, I think we have 3 guys that we believe in. But if a young player comes along or a depth player comes along, we certainly. I don't go looking in the portal, but I'm not stupid when things come across to us. We're always, Scott Fitter was the GM when I was in Carolina. He used to say from the Seahawks, we're in on every trade. And so he just would explore everything. So, but I think we have quarterbacks capable of winning for us. And I think the quarterback play significantly improved from last season. And, that's kind of where we're at.
What's your plan for the next few days, just with the portal and the deadline of May 1? And you try to meet with everybody before May 1 just to kind of discuss with guys about situations?
No. So what I do at the end of every spring is I have a team meeting on Monday, and then they meet with their position coach, and then they all meet with me over the course of however many days. So I'll be available Monday. I'll be available Tuesday. I've had so many guys already come and talk to me about, like I said, you can kind of tell them, like there's a lot of tampering happening in college football. I got guys, I said earlier in the press conference, guys showing me their phone, guys showing me this. So, if a player is urgent and they're trying to make a decision about going to the portal, then they'll sign up early for their meeting with me. If, a lot of guys, most of the team's probably pretty set, they'll sign up maybe later in the week with me or maybe next week. So, but that's kind of on them, we kind of have our process. We meet with every single player, go through like kind of where they stand right now. We can't make promises for the future. And I think the biggest thing that I'd say is, I think wanting them always to understand, like, everyone's going to have your back. Everyone's going to say positive. Everyone's going to tell you what you want to hear when things are going well. When you're one of the top players, and they're trying to get you in the portal. When you're Demetrius or Blind, you're laying in there and you have tears running down your face and you don't know what's going to happen to you. Who has your back then? And so, but yeah, I'm open book. We talk to every single guy, regardless. But if a guy was trying to make a decision on the portal, they can come talk to us. And I wouldn't forget that, we do a great job here of graduating players, and we don't slow down graduations. And if they've graduated, they can still go in the portal, right? In training camp, they can go in the portal. So it's kind of an open conversation the whole time. So we're going to leave here and recruit, and we're going to recruit all day tomorrow, and then we're going to go honor the student athletes at the night at the lead tomorrow night, and then Monday, Tuesday, we'll start the process.
I know it comes game, but I did feel like Dante Daldell maybe took a step forward today versus the rest of the spring.
You know, today I saw a burst in him. I haven't seen that long run from him in the other scrimmages. Now, you know, maybe it was blocked better. Maybe Tony didn't blitz as much today. Maybe it was a little simple. I didn't tell Tony what he could or couldn't do, but maybe he played it. But it was great to see that from Dante. You know, he's had a good spring, but I saw, you saw a burst, kind of where I stand down there. You could see like a level of acceleration into contact and that long run down the left sideline. So some really good things. You know, you have I think a pretty deep running back. When we saw Maurice Mazuka, I saw a spin move that he made. It was a fantastic run. Big fan of Kenneth Williams. I think Kenneth is a guy who's going to play here in some different ways. But Dante, Emmett, I kind of sidelined Emmett at one point, so that's enough from you. And during practice this week, Ramir took a lot of reps in one of the practices, and he looked good in kind of the no huddle stuff that we're doing. So get Gabe Irvin back. I think it's a deep room. We'll have to do a good job as coaches, but of figuring out what each guy does really well. We think we have a good feel for it. But I was really pleased, Sam, to see some of the things Dante did today that just a flash and a burst maybe I hadn't felt as the season as the spring's gone on.
What's your level of comfort with the amount of tampering that you're seeing?
It is what it is. It is what it is. They're gonna call D Bell and say come here, come there. But when he's hurt, who's in there with him? We are. So I just gonna coach them all like they're my younger brother. I don't like to say sons because that's a weird dynamic. I coach them all like they're my younger brother. Hard on them probably. Like an older brother is. Try to give them advice. Try to listen to them. Help them through this. I mean, sometimes they offer you so much money you got to leave. And coaches complain about it. My assistant coaches do the same thing to me. Hey, coach, I got this offer to go there. So, I just want them all to be successful. And so, but it's it's a sad state. I'll just say that. It's just a sad state. But it is what it is, man. And you know what? A lot of people want to come here too, and a lot of people want to stay here. So roster numbers are certainly not going to be our issue in terms of having enough good players. And I hope everyone saw that today. Like you saw a lot of guys flashing and doing some things, and maybe I'm thinking through 3 scrimmages, but we have a lot of depth. I mean, how about Keelan Smith made some big time catches down the stretch in there. So I think we have a lot of guys that can make plays.
Yesterday during the storms, obviously it's come through the whole state, but for you personally, where were you and how close were you to getting hit?
Well, I was in the stadium. We had recruiting going on. I know some of my neighbors out there in Waverly, and some of you were kind enough to even check on us as those things. I don't know that I even realized what was happening. I was in the middle of recruiting, and your phone's kind of going off, but everyone was in the building. But my daughter's called me there in Omaha. Well, my daughter called me. She's in Omaha in school, and she's in the shelter. And I go out to Waverly Road, and my neighbors were certainly affected. And I talked to some friends. I talked to Eric Crouch and a couple of people up in Elkhorn, and they were affected. So, but I was here, and obviously, we weren't directly affected, but just a sad thing to see.
Okay.
Thank you guys for all the spring. Thanks for everything you guys do. Appreciate you guys.
All right, questions for Thomas?
Thomas, how much has the offense changed in the last season?
I think it's very similar, obviously, in terms of we still have the same play calls and all that type of stuff, with under Coach Sat and DOC and everything. I think what's changed most is just our kind of the way we carry ourselves and confidence. I think, all of us are so prepared. And this spring we took a lot of reps of a lot of the plays. And I think it helped us as an offense, and reps matter. The more reps you have, obviously, the better you're going to be at all the plays that are called. So I think really that's been huge for us, is just getting reps at all the plays.
Was that the Dylan Raiola that you saw a lot this spring, some of the throws that he was connecting on out there today?
Oh yeah, he's got a great arm. He's got great arm talent, great vision for the field. He's got a great X factor. All of them, honestly, all of them do. I was very impressed with Daniel and Heinrich as well all spring. I think they all have done a great job throughout the whole spring. So it's been fun to get reps with all of them, honestly.
That confidence that you guys have as an offense, I know you had a good scrimmage last week. They looked pretty good. What does that do for you going into these next few months and obviously wanting to have a head of steam into August?
Yeah, it just has to carry over. As an offense, we have to continue to carry over, our confidence into the fall and summer workouts and just really everything. We take it day by day. I think that, obviously, spring ball is not going to be a huge, heavy install. You're not getting game planning for anyone in specific, so it's going to be a little different in that type of way. But yeah, I think we just have to carry over our confidence and skills, and just everyone's going to have to do their job like we did all spring. And I think we did a great job. It's just another day out there on the practice field. We just got to take it a little differently, especially when on the game field in the stadium.
Sorry. Where's your confidence now compared to last spring, mentally and physically?
Oh, it's so much different. Just last spring being like really my first healthy spring. It's kind of like my first really playing football last year in 2 years, after high school. So having that spring and then this spring and really the whole season to get reps has been huge. And my confidence and just comfortability on the field has, gone through the roof for me, and just going to continue to do so. So I'm excited.
Obviously, you and Heinrich had a great connection last year. How has that continued to evolve through this offseason and had touchdown day in the spring game? So how's your connection with Heinrich evolved?
Yeah, I think that we just have, continued to strengthen our connection. We were on the same NSL team, the Nebraska Spring League stuff for the majority, for all of the Spring League. So we've, got to connect throughout the Spring League. And then, today we had a nice connection on that play that we had, a little Kelsey route. And I think that, me and Heinrich have a good connection that, I'm kind of not like safety net, but I'm a big target. And I feel like, I've got great hands and a great athletic and skill set to make things happen after the play, and I'm glad I got to show that a little more today.
How impressed are you with guys like Corey Barney and Jalen Lloyd, and just how they've come along and the options that have kind of grown at wide receiver? Maybe
it's insane. Jalen, he's like a cat. That kid, whenever he catches the ball, he always comes down his feet running. He's freakishly athletic, and Ja'Cory Barney has great hand-eye coordination. He's made some pretty insane catches throughout the spring and turned a lot of heads from all of us. Everyone notices it, and he holds himself to an extremely high standard. I love it because I can relate to it. If he drops the ball that he knows he makes the play on, he's upset, and I think it's a good thing. He holds himself to a high standard. Same thing with Jay Lloyd, but Jay Lloyd, so after last year, I feel like he's just so comfortable, so much more comfortable, and Ja'Cory is too. Obviously, it's just Ja'Cory's a little younger and he's still getting used to the speed, but you can't tell the difference. They're both great players.
Thomas, Coach Rule just came out of here and praised you for your loyalty to Nebraska. He talked about how players have to deal with being recruited, not just when they're coming out of high school, but throughout their college careers. What's behind that for you, that loyalty, that feeling that you have about the school?
Well, I think most of you know, I grew up, typical, I said it before about typical Nebraska fan. I remember getting, not in like literal fights obviously, but arguments with kids on the playground when I was in elementary school about, why Nebraska's better than Iowa. I grew up, I was a Nebraska football player, I think for like 8 to 10 years of my Halloween experiences. This is what I grew up doing. I grew up loving Nebraska football. Grew up wearing the N on the Walmart helmets that we used to have back when we were kids. So, it's a dream come true. It's a dream just to be on the field. I was literally saying it to the tight ends today. It's like, when I was on a knee, and I was like, isn't it crazy? We're doing what, it's here now, but we're doing what, I dreamed of doing as a kid. It's just crazy. It's just a surreal experience.
How much do you hear of your teammates talking about other teams coming after them, and how significant is that? Other teams coming after you?
I mean, it's only significant. I mean, if you let it be significant, I guess. I mean, it definitely happens. You know, I've heard people tap in. You know, I've had experiences with it. It can be, you know, it's like I don't know. I guess like it can make you think. I guess because you know you always like you never know. The grass is never green on the other side, but some people, or not always green on the other side, but some people, you know, or make emotional decisions like, well, you know, they're gonna do this and that. I'm not here for getting this, whatever. I feel like you know, you gotta write it out. I mean, what's gonna happen is your time's gonna come, and if it doesn't, then I believe that you know whatever happens is supposed to happen. I mean, you know, like I've said that before with everything I've had to you know endure, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a factor, you know, with NIL and everything, but it's not gonna. If it's not a factor if you don't let it be. So.
Thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Questions for Dylan?
So, how'd that feel?
That was emotional. You know, I fought back tears walking out the tunnel for the tunnel walk. Growing up as a kid, that's what I knew and that's what I watched. So being a part of it, you come out the tunnel and you hear the song. It got heavy for me. So I'm just thankful for the fans coming out, and it was a fun experience.
Breath before that first snap?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really remember. I kind of blacked out, but after that, it was just playing ball, and I had fun.
How were you able to look as comfortable as you did when you had those kind of butterflies and nerves going on in your first appearance here?
Yeah, I have great coaches that prepared me for this. You know, great teammates that make plays. So, I mean, I was just getting the ball to my playmakers, and they made me look good, honestly. So, O-line blocked up great, running backs ran hard, and receivers made plays. So, they made me comfortable once they made plays. So, yeah, I would say that's how I was comfortable.
What do you think you did well today?
Was getting the ball out. We tried not to take any sacks. Fortunately, we had 2 turnovers. I had 1. So, you know, just got to grow from that. And, yeah, I think just keep growing on what we did right and fix the wrong.
What did you see on that touchdown to Jalen?
Yeah, it was funny. Actually, I missed that touchdown in practice on Tuesday. I threw a check down on Tuesday, and I went back and watched the tape, and I saw the post safety didn't get to the middle. So, you know, Jalen, as fast as he is, I knew once he got up on the corner's toes that it was over with. And, you know, he made the rest happen, you know, catching and scoring.
It's been about a month since we've talked to you. What do you think of this offense now? What do you like about it? Where do you feel like you can grow in it?
Yeah, I love it. You know, there's many different variables to it. You know, whether it's checks, you know, getting us in the right play, or, you know, the coaches just put us in a position to be successful. But no, I think it's based on our playmakers. You know, we have a lot of those. We want to use them. And, you know, we're just trying to find ways to push the ball to our guys and watch them go work.
You said earlier this spring that the running game is a quarterback's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
How does that look during the course of the spring?
It's looked great. We have a 9-on-7 period every day, which is basically our inside run. And that's the O-line, they get after it. So, you know, it's great to see that translate into 11 on 11. So, O-line's been working hard. You know, they've made tremendous jumps, and I'm very proud of them.
What do you do now next, Dylan? We're like the month of May when there's some downtime. Do you go work somewhere and get extra work done or take some time off? Like, what's the next step for you?
Yeah, time off might be like a day or 2. You know, got to finish up school, obviously, then probably head to Kansas City to go, you know, work with Pat and Bobby. So just trying to elevate my game, be around great people, and, you know, also rest the body when time's needed.
What seems that about Ja'Cory, another freshman who had a pretty good day?
Yeah, well, first, that's my best friend. You know, he's my roommate, and we have a we have a lot of fun together. You know, we woke up in the morning together, you know, around the same time pretty much every day, and we know he makes a choice to go be great. So first, I'm proud of him for just coming in every day, and second, he's got a different kind of speed. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He plays tremendously hard, and he just works at his craft every day. So what he did today, I'm not surprised. You know, he's been doing it all spring.
What would you work with Mahomes on?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you that right now. I think it's just want to be around greatness. And, you know, obviously he's going down as one of the greats already, but just trying to take it all in and you know, try to elevate my game as much as I can.
Have you worked with Bobby before?
Yes, I have.
What's like the number one thing that he's taught you, biggest takeaway from your time working with him?
Yeah, Bobby has a lot of things that he does. I think the best thing he focuses on is his flexibility in uncomfortable positions. So, you know, being strong and, you know, you guys probably seen the back bend he had against Baltimore. You know, they work on that every day. So trying to just stay loose, stay flexible. So, you know, avoiding hits and not taking hits, you know, you become durable.
Is this on-field work, classroom work? Is it all encompassing with Pat?
It's just on the field. You know, I'm not sure if it's going to be, you know, with just him or just Bobby. So, you know, I just want to get working.
How have the last 3 months maybe matched what you hoped it would be, and how's it exceeded your expectations?
Yeah, 3 months has been a grind. We had a hype video before the spring game today, and you know it just went back through all the things that we did to get to this point, and you know through the winter conditioning to mat drills to team commitment and then spring ball. You know, it's just we came a long way, and you know our guys have fought through adversity. You know our bodies are 100%. I know they're tired, and for them to go out there, play with the kind of energy and juice they did, you know I think we're headed the right way.
What were some things you wanted to work on just personally after your performance today?
Yeah, I think just processing, decision making, obviously taking care of the football. But, you know, I'm going to go back and look at the tape and, you know, really was just taking it all in and playing ball. And I knew that after the game I could watch the tape and figure out what I did wrong. But it was just tremendous to be out in that stadium for the first time with the fans.
You mentioned the interception. How do you digest that? 'Cause, I mean, it was obviously off a receiver's hands. So is that when you go back and look at that, do you put that on your shoulders, or how do you move forward with that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's my fault. I'll take that. And you know, ball placement got to be better. And yeah, no, I put that on me. It was behind him, and you know, he had to make an acrobatic catch to make that play. So yeah, that one's on me.
How close is this quarterback room?
We're really close. I think you guys probably would have seen it out there. We're, you know, cheering on each other. You know, we've been grinding together for I don't know how long, 3 months or whatever it is, and it's just been a lot of fun. We're competing, but at the end of the day, we're going to be there for each other.
Anything else for Dylan? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. How'd you feel out there today?
Felt really confident. Just trying to play quarterback today, not trying to do anything outside myself.
What are the biggest steps you think you've taken this spring?
I think mentally feeling a lot better about, you know, knowing where guys are, knowing where the checkdowns are, just trying to get completions. That's what we're trying to accomplish this spring, and I think we've done a really good job of that.
How do you feel about just overall about the weapons that you guys have added this offseason so far? You know, with Nair and Banks and Barney, seems like a different type of offense than we saw last year.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously last year we had some attrition that affected some of our explosiveness, and we had some young guys who had to step up. And you know, out of all those guys that you just mentioned, you know, Malachi's not back yet. You know, I mean, we've still got guys who are being held out for the spring that'll come back and, you know, be a big part of our offense. So, but yeah, I mean, having those guys and then having the scheme to be able to stretch the field, but also be able to get completions like we were talking about. Stretch the field. If it's 3rd and 8, stretch the field, hit a check down, get to 4th and 2, maybe we go for it.
How helpful was the helmet communication, just having that in a kind of a game situation today?
Yeah, so for us, we had it last spring, and then for me at least, last year with the signals. Once you almost become fluid in signals. So the helmets help a little bit for me, but not a ton, just because of how. It gets to a point where Coach Satt or someone may just say the first word of the play, and you just automatically know what the play is. And that's experience, but I think it helps those 2 younger guys a lot. But I think by this start of the season, those 2 guys will be at that point too, where we know we can kind of anticipate what kind of play we're going to call, and even if we can't hear the whole play call, that's something that we can just hear the first couple words and go from there.
How has competing against, specifically Dylan, helped you to elevate your game?
Yeah, last year with Jeff and Chubba, those guys had a different element. And then, with Dylan and Danny, those guys are almost entirely different from Jeff and Chubba. And then, also with the goal of this year being completions, just trying to get that completion percentage up, I know for me at least. So, yeah, having those 2, those are 2 of the best freshman quarterbacks in college football. I believe that. I've seen 3 classes of freshman quarterbacks come in now. None of them have, come in as prepared as those 2 have and had the mindset like those 2 have. But at the same time, I do things that I have different strengths. So working on those strengths as well. So competing with myself every day as well.
How did you feel about your throwing motion being back live snaps in Memorial Stadium?
Yeah, that was something that Coach Rule and I had talked about after last season, and it's by no means anywhere close to where I want it to be. I'm going to keep working this summer on that, and part of that's just footwork and being even more comfortable in the pocket. Not getting antsy in the pocket.
How has working with Coach Glenn helped you this offseason?
Yeah, he's been a part of the feet part. He's really helped me settle down my feet, getting in the right spot, and mentally knowing where to go with the ball, just getting completions again. That's really been stressed so much this spring. That's when it keeps coming up like this. I think that tells a whole lot about what they wanted from us, and hopefully we showed that today.
I don't know if it was just a expansion of using the tight ends and the flats today, or if that was a new wrinkle in the offense. But what do you think about throwing it to Thomas or to any of the tight ends who were out on the edges of the field?
Yeah, and once again, completions. Just getting the ball in play outside the box. Anytime you can do that, there's a chance. Getting a corner to try and tackle Thomas, try and tackle Nate. Get them on those guys. Things are going to happen. That's a first down, move the chains, start it all over again. And no, we had it last year. In fact, that was my first play at Minnesota as a tight end was that play exactly, just coming across. And so we've had that in. I think one of my first. I think I had 2 or 3 touchdowns last year off of plays like that. We're just trying to get in the flat in the red zone. They load up the box. Let's get it out in the perimeter, and let those guys run them over and make them miss.
How would you characterize the number of weapons at the quarterback's disposal, maybe compared to last year?
I think, like I said, we've got some transfers, but also. I think a lot of these freshmen taking steps. Unfortunately, Demetrius Bell got hurt today. I think he's going to come back and he's going to be a huge part of this offense. He's a weapon that's been used all spring, and I think when he gets back healthy, he'll be a big part. But we've got the transfers, we've got the guys who stepped up last year, and obviously, have Ja'Cory Barney, some of those freshman receivers who are going to take steps and compete for reps out there.
With Barney, what was your impression today?
Yeah, I mean, I think he showed what he's been showing us all spring. He's a deep threat, but at the same time, I think his route running is going to become elite and make him a threat at 3 different levels. I think it gets to a point where if the corner's 8 yards off, we flip it out there and let him do his thing, because I mean I don't know if there's an athlete out there who can tackle him one-on-one.
Do you approach the summer as your number 1, number 2, or does it even matter?
No, I'm approaching it as I'm the incumbent. Going to keep working as the starter, and I know those other 2 will as well. And that's what's going to drive this room to be great is, all of us every day competing for that number 1 spot. Each of us having the mindset that we're going to be the starter. So I think that's what will take this room to another level with all the talent that we have, all the weapons that we have. And, it's not going to be a clash of ram. We're not going to go head to head. We're going to work together, but at the same time compete.
All good. All right.
Thank you.
All right, questions? Did you have anybody affected yesterday? You just the West area, but just anybody you knew affected by the tornadoes yesterday?
No. I'm actually from Elkhorn area, and that's where my family was. So I know a lot of people, without power. We were out without power, where my family was in Elkhorn. But just a really bad deal, and prayers are definitely out to everyone affected. So.
Daniel, did you accomplish everything you wanted to this spring, and where do you want to keep growing?
Yeah, I think coming into the spring, I just wanted to attack it every day, be aggressive and try to learn as much as I could. So I think I definitely did that. There was some good, some bad, but I think overall, just improved a lot and learned a lot for sure.
What do you think you did today?
I think I left some out there for sure, but I think overall, decision making, I felt pretty decisive. Kind of just played and trusted myself out there. So I think overall, there's a lot to learn from, but I'm proud of the way I came out and played confident. So.
You said that you left. Is that just normal quarterbacking, wanting to be perfect on every play, or are there particular ones like, if I would only do this or that?
I think it's a mixture of both. Obviously, every play you want to execute to the best of your abilities, but I think there's a few throws that might have missed one inside a little bit, like the one to Jacory to start the game a little high, things like that. But just going to continue to watch the film and improve from it. So.
Dylan said that he felt like a little butterflies like during the tunnel walk and all of those things. Did you feel that too?
Yeah, I think just even before, probably an hour and a half before, just coming out on the field, taking a lap, the type of atmosphere we had today was something I've been, looking forward to play in for a long time. So I think there were definitely those kind of butterflies beforehand, but I think it honestly just felt really good to be out there with those fans cheering us on and to be playing in Memorial Stadium. So it was just a really good feeling overall.
Did today make it any more real for you that you're a quarterback here?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the point that made it real for me. Yeah, really being out there, having the fans cheer you on, and just being out there with the guys playing football. So it was great.
Having gone through this whole spring, what do you see? What do you characterize as the strengths now at this point of the offense that you guys have?
I think with the offense, we just have a lot of different options as far as where to go to the ball, but also with play calling. I think we have a lot of shots, a lot of RPO stuff. We can also run downhill, power. So I just think we have a lot of options of not only the players that we have a lot of skilled players, whether it be up front or running back, receiver, really everywhere. I think we have a lot of talent, but also just in the scheme, we have a lot of different type of plays that we can get into.
How valuable was Glenn Thomas to you this spring, and what were one or two things maybe specifically you really picked up from him?
I think he's been super valuable and just a really good person that I've started to really become close with. But I just think the biggest thing, I think I said it before, just be able to learn more about just the game of football and scheme, defenses. I feel like if I, tested myself back in January and where I'm at now, completely different as far as just the mental side of the game. So I think he's been great as far as, getting on us and coaching us, but also like when we're in the film room, just teaching us so much. So he's been great.
We didn't see a lot of Banks today. We saw Nayor, but they're two older transfers. What's the dynamic you've seen from them throughout spring?
Just making a lot of plays for sure. Guys that are, Jamal I think is someone who just put in his vicinity and he's gonna make it happen. And then Isaiah's a guy who can kind of maybe take the top off the defense, a lot of range, but just two really talented receivers that adds to a receiver room that I think was already very talented. So it's good to have those guys, and like you said, they're older, so they add some experience to the room, which definitely helps.
You also connected with Jalen Lloyd. I mean, what's that like? Is that weird at all? A former T-Bird connecting with the Warrior, and what does he bring to the table?
I don't know if it's necessarily weird, but that's a guy I've kind of I've played 7-on-7 with back in high school and known for a while. So that's definitely a cool moment. There's a lot of guys on the team from Omaha, so to kind of have that connection, he's been making a lot of plays in the spring too. It was cool, but yeah.
Anything else for Danny? All right, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Hang tight for a minute. We might have a defensive guy still, but